All right, folks, welcome. What's your story? We're going to hang out with this guy, talk about crazy and fun. Matt is kind of a guilty pleasure for me, friend. You make me laugh. You make me smile. You make me realize that if I'm tense, I'm in some knots. Listen, take a breather. Listen to some gags. I know you're a big fan of Grogu. You're a big fan of all the things that, get me twisted into a knot, and you always find a way to make me smile. So thank you, my friend, for hanging out with me and talking.
Well, yeah, it's great to be here. One quick correction. It's Sir Grogu Djinn. I forgot his last name.
Yeah, it's escaping me, but yeah, no. So how
But
on earth did you transition from almost like comedian mode to, listen, I'm going to do it on the tubes now?
what? How did I get here, man?
Yeah.
It was the vid. I didn't have an outlet, and the girlfriend was getting kind of. She wanted me out of her hair because now I was just watching TV or whatever, and she's working in the other room, and I'm like, babe, you got to come watch this one thing. I wouldn't interrupt you if it wasn't important. It never was. But yeah, and The Last Jedi, like with everyone, it broke me. And that's when I started listening to Jeff from World Class Bullshitters and a few others. And there was a moment where I'm like, no, I would be better at this than they are in a non-conceited way. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, you're the most humble guy that's YouTubing
Absolutely
amongst other YouTubers.
And I've never been afraid to say it.
So you ran up against like the Mrs. Robin Williams syndrome. Like that was the biggest thing with his wife. It was always like, he doesn't turn off. Like this is just who he is. I mean, he's probably high on coke, but he's just like, no, like so she's cooped up with Mad in the middle of a pandemic and like, oh my God, go in the room and go talk to some other humans and let me have a break from you, my friend.
It was a mixture of that because she was in the improv as well, and so most of our day we're usually going through bits. Even now, I mean, we'll just start a bit and see how long we can run it just out of habit. But and then I started doing a improv podcast with some guys. I won't give out the name. I was just on it the other day, but it's too crazy to be associated with because with them, I try to put they're a little younger. They're not woke, but there's been those moments where no, like I acknowledge my white privilege and I have to smack them.
Okay.
And so I just try to go as far right as I possibly can. A lot of laser talk this last episode, but
a lot of trolling.
I enjoyed it, but there wasn't enough structure for me. And so I just started hopping on YouTube in the comments, got on with one guy, and then got to another, and Culture was probably one of the first I met of the people around. And then I'm not to the point where I want to be because there is one that's bigger that's still out of my reach a little bit of being on because he's a moron and he's an idiot, and I would love to be on with him, but I'm not going to say his name.
Okay, well,
it's not Jeff. I've been on with Jeff a lot.
I was talking about me for a minute there. No. I was like, wait a minute.
But I've already been on here.
Well, that's true. But we weren't really cutting up. We were trying to actually talk about a show, and now it's like, well, we could just talk about whatever. But yeah, I totally get it. Like the pandemic broke so many people. It was on the heels of like the 2016 to 2019. Like, so it started, Ghostbusters 2016, all the way through Last Jedi, all the way into, so it's like all of that happens post 2015 and the 2016 election. Like people are on edge and stressed, seeing the world change is crazy. Fast forward to 23 though, Barbie's the #1 movie of the year.
Haven't seen it.
Things are still strange. Before we got started, we were talking about the fall of Taylor Sheridan, his Lioness show, and we're talking about just the world's still nuts. Why are you not doing like more comedy content? Why is it hard to not keep going?
Well, it's just so I see a lot of things and I'm like, oh yeah, that would be great. But I want a challenge,
Softball's not it. I got it. Okay.
Yeah. Nothing bothers me more than somebody tries to insult me, they're like, oh, I'm going to get mad. And it's some written canned response that they have that they try to play off. I mean, I don't want to be an asshole and be like, dude, that was lame, but it gets hard to respond to some things. I used to on my stream deck. I would have, I would have pre-recorded responses if anybody made a joke about me being on fire, me being gay. And I would just press the button and it'd be like, oh, wow, your parents are so amazed by your ability to bring back a gay joke. Yay, you. So I wouldn't have to say it anymore, you know?
Okay.
But, yeah, I don't know, man. I still got movies with Mad that's now called, What the Flick? Because it's more inclusive.
Well, at least it's PG-13, so it makes it in line with my channel. So like,
Oh, that's the only thing about that show.
I know that's I was being facetious because I try to be the PG-13 guy in this community, and it's a struggle as it is. Yeah, no, that's great. That's great.
But no, I look, man. I right now I am enjoying just going to different panels. I got a few things I need to work on in the back, but I got a new TV. It's amazing, and all I want to do is keep playing on it because it's our black light went out on our main TV, so I was like, all right, it's Labor Day, I should find a good deal, and I got a 65-inch Samsung Nano QLED 4K.
You got everything. A new toy, all right.
It's amazing. The girlfriend can see a difference because women can't see in 4K, but I can, and it's amazing.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, we're not going to go down that rabbit hole about the 4K vision dilemma that we have in society right now, because that's a problem that neither of us can solve for sure. So
wait, you mean women, right?
Yeah, they can't see in 4K. No,
they can't. I even asked my iologist, and she agreed.
Well, mine's a man, so he didn't quite understand that because there was a woman in the room because she was an aide. So he was like, "Listen, we can't talk about this right now."
Oh, that's right.
I mean, hang on. Listen, let me send her out of the room for a minute, and then she was left, and then we had a conversation about listen, we can't talk about that in front of them, like that secret bro conversation. And he was like, "Oh," I'm like, "Oh crap, I'm sorry, doc. You're not gonna charge me extra on my copay." He told me he'd write it off this time if I did it again. It was like a whole thing. Then we started drifting into like almost like 8K conversation. I'm like, okay, it's getting too expensive.
Oh, I wanted 8K. Yeah, so bad, yeah. She wouldn't let me do it. The biggest problem is they make up for the 4K with their hearing because she hears every little joke I make out here.
Oh, The Bionic Woman is a documentary. Boy. It's clearly the first female model of experimentation, and it probably should not have gotten leaked out to the public. But that's actually how almost all of them are built. I'm totally certain.
Do you think that because they didn't with the $1 Million Man or whatever, they had the price tag in the title? You think they left it out with her because she only cost 85% of what the man cost?
Well, 77%, I believe. 70% on the dollar. So it was a little it was 70 cents on the dollar, and then she like got one ear. You know what I mean? So it was like an ear is all she got. Like, okay, I mean, you spent $777,000 on an ear and a leg and a tangerine hand. Like, I mean, we can do tangerines. Like, I'm not really impressed by your tangerine. So
you just forced the Boba Fett when they go to the dude, one of the hipsters or whatever, to have robotic work done on them.
Yeah.
And how lame all of their prosthetic upgrades or whatever.
In Star Wars, lame. It was it was just so unimpressive on so many levels. But and for those of you who don't know about the bionic hearing, which is totally fact check true, it isn't until the women become seniors, like my mother-in-law will now she'll just admit it. So you'll be something, and then she'll just go, I can hear everything, and you could just hear like an uneasy pause in the room. The men who don't want to be heard, and the other women are like, shh, keep it quiet, Grandma.
I think there's a Kenan and Kel sketch where he's like, and then I said, and they're like, wait, hold on. And they just kept trying to go further and further until they're on the moon in spacesuits trying to tell the story, so the wife doesn't hear.
Yeah. It sounds about right. It's about right. So, so how is it? Do you write your comedy when you decide to do something, or is it just like you just love improv, ad lib, just go?
Yeah, well, a little bit of a mixture of both. When I did, for instance, when we did Goodfellas on Toxic Tuesday, I went on as Uncle Mad. What was it? Matacone or something like that, right? Like a good fella. Like and I had the smoker jacket, and it was nonsense. But I came up with it in the shower before the show, and I remember standing in my bathroom just naked, typing on my phone this whole skit about how when I was a little, when I was a little mad at my father came and picked me up from school, and a
Okay,
whole
good.
story
Okay.
about how he wants his son to be the good fella and get his education from the streets. So the whole thing, and I get stood there naked in the bathroom. But yeah. So sometimes it's that. Sometimes I'm just doing notes, and then other times I will just start recording, man. And whatever comes out comes out. I may do a second one. Most I've had comments where somebody was like, "Why did you leave your laugh in there?" And I was like, "Because I said something funny."
I made myself laugh. Was
Yeah, I
that the
mean,
point of doing this? Like, what is wrong with
right.
you?
Yeah, I
So
still just
I'm sure
making a
that
laugh.
because we do premiere these on a Sunday morning, so I don't know who's in chat right now. I know you all want to know. Um, were you for that Goodfellow character? Were you a Peter or a Paul? We just want to make sure we're.
Oh, okay. You may be a little older than me. I don't know if that is a Bible reference or
No,
a
no, that's a
Beetle
reference in the
reference.
film that they were introducing all the characters as either Peter or a
Oh, that's
Paul. They're
right.
yeah, they're all named Peter or Paulie. Paul, this is Pete. This is Paulie. Pete,
Oh,
Peter.
that's
Yeah.
right.
Oh wow. Again, I threw a strike on him. I can't believe that actually happened.
Oh,
But listen, it's okay. It's
look,
okay. It's
man.
a
I
Sunday
I
show. They won't. No
dedicated
one's
myself
listening.
to it. I dedicated myself to that.
That's good though. That's good. So notes help. Yeah, I get that, right? Because sometimes someone gave me that advice once doing interviews. I'm like, I don't like being interviewed. And then I'm like, I guess you kind of have to like learn to kind of evolve with things as you do things. And it's like, well, try to say something interesting. Like, come up with something maybe you haven't said before, or like one little soundbite, or maybe something that you're reading, like almost like a note card. Like come up with two or three things. You know what I mean? Other than that, just be yourself and let it go and just rip it, let it go. So I got it. I got it.
Yeah,
Cool.
no, that's good advice. Yeah, I usually just go in and wing it for the most part.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
know Carrie Smith, I was on her channel doing an
Mhm.
interview, and leading up to it, the girlfriend kept saying, Have you written anything? Have you got anything ready for the interview? I'm, what? She's interviewing me. Why do I have to do prep work? I know me.
I've dated me. I know me.
uh, it's just funny,
Uh,
but yeah.
what has been the biggest surprise or difference for YouTube in doing like that type of stuff versus doing it elsewhere?
Um Man, I don't improv for me, so there's different types of improv. You have your short form and you have your long form. And I always would have a little tiff with some of the improv guys uh, at where I was at because they always wanted it to be big, They wanted a lot of movement. It's the most annoying part of improv is we're gonna play a game like, oh yeah, okay, we're all here rapping randomly. Now it's your turn, or whatever dumb little games they do. I never cared for it. I always enjoyed the long form of characters meeting and then building that scene out. It's the discovery, right? Because even
Hmm.
you don't know where it's going, and then when you get there, you're like, "Oh shit, this is where we're at." It is, along with the audience, and I think they can vibe off of that if they're with you. If you're both, kind of unveiling this story as it goes along, and yeah, I think it's great. Stand up's great as well. I can never read you any of it here, but I wrote for a local guy, and I really enjoyed it. He was a black comedian, so I was uncomfortable using the N word so much through my I wrote for him. Um, but yeah, so I did that. That was all right. And then the COVID thing that happened. That's kind of where I was at. I was kind of transitioning from improv to stand up when everything went down.
We get like more improv back. Like, will we see more of that? You think, or do you think
I
that
n-
I don't? I would think like that would be the one thing that would interest me the most. Like, I remember just religiously. I know this is probably almost like a blackface version of it, but it's like, whose line it is anyway, anywhere.
exactly, yeah.
Could just be on. Do you know what I mean? Like it would just run on reruns and stuff, and it could just be
Hmm.
on. It would be something we were consuming in hindsight, a lot of. I remember getting to interview those guys, and I was always telling them that, like thanking them. I'm like, guys, I really thank you. You guys actually were like a large part of hours of my life that I kind of, as I was prepping for this, realized we used to have it on like all the time. Like it was just something we could do, and it was just there.
I think that our peak was the league
Mm.
when because the league was almost entirely improv except for like the A story through the episodes, and even those would be influenced. Um, and then you got Ghostbusters 2016, and the biggest thing about it was how whatever his name is with the glasses, the director, I don't know his name,
Oh yeah,
uh,
Paul
but
Fries or whatever
yeah,
his
yeah,
name
yeah.
is.
He's
Yeah,
like, oh, there's so much improv throughout it. Everybody has so much fun, you know. And then you watch it, and you're like, no, these people aren't funny. And then people would conflate that with like, why? No, dude, you need the script, okay? Don't let them just improv this shit. Ugh. And then you just would keep hearing how funny people are, and they would improv on the set, and but they're not funny people, so it doesn't come out.
Well, and the hindsight was, when they would run this stuff through, we didn't get to see the worst things, the bombs, right? They would just cut it out.
Yeah,
So
we saw the best they had.
yeah. So when if we go back and you watch, behind the scenes and you look at like everything from like, Stripes and Ghostbusters, stuff that
Hmm.
Chevy did, all these guys, it's like, okay, yes, they would do like Caddyshack, right? They turn the camera was just on, right? They would just, I mean, I remember talking to Cindy Morgan about this with that scene with the massage and the back rub or whatever.
Yeah,
She's like, she looks up and realizes the freaking red light's on because they've been filming for 2 or 3 minutes, letting Chevy just do Chevy. And in reality is, if it didn't work, they would just cut it out, but they would just let him go. They would just wind him up. Let's see what happens. We got the piece that's in the page in the script. Like we'll just keep going until
yeah.
we get that piece. But it seems like with Ghostbusters, 2016 and other projects, for some reason, some of these folks have reputations of being good at it. And I'm with
I
you.
don't think
I
so.
don't, if what we're getting is the best stuff that made it through, those people should never work again because it's a dumpster fire.
What's crazy is back Stripes and all those they had it was all film,
Yeah.
and it's kind of a big deal if you waste too much film. That's why Clint Eastwood won't give you a second take, no matter how obvious that doll is. But
Yeah, I know. He comes from the OG where
right,
all this stuff was down
but
to
it's
the
all
local
digital now.
Kodak, and yeah, I know. I
So
know.
let them have a few more takes. What are you wasting? A few megabytes? Then you erase it. You're good to go. Check the gate. Let's move on. But I don't know. I think it has to do with the quality of people they're hiring to write, because it all starts there. These people were thought of as funny when they had competent writers writing their jokes for them, right? And now that they have bad writers, they're like, well, we'll just let them, do some things on the set, in the scene, let them try out a couple things. Oh, they're not very good at this either. We'll just take whatever we can get then.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time knowing when Tiffany Haddish was funny. I'm missing something. Like I'm just not getting it. Like I don't know. You're
The
right. I
only
get.
thing I've seen her do funny was the Mortal Kombat skit from SNL, which is crazy in itself
Oh
that
well,
SNL
yeah.
had a good one.
But
But that's
again,
not
Saturday
her
Night
though.
Live.
That's
Yeah,
not
right.
her.
So she doesn't write it. And
No.
again, SNL, pull back the curtains, right? We always remember like one or two skits. In
Hmm.
reality, is they'll produce like 35 skits for a show.
Yeah.
It's like you remember two, and when you were watching some of that stuff in real time, especially back in the day when I was watching it, it's like, you would talk about everything up until about Weekend Update. And that was pretty much it. Everything that happened after Weekend Update usually was not memorable and no one was talking about it. So it's like, in hindsight, it's good. It's great. There were great moments for sure, but it's
Yeah.
like it doesn't quite hold up to the legacy that it kind of has in some ways. Definitely not by the time you get to
Well,
her
what
stuff.
we have lost though is any theatrically released comedies that are any good.
I agree more.
The last one was the Lawrence. What's her name? Uh, she was like, oh, our son can't get laid, and they pay her
Oh, right, the
to they
Jennifer
don't.
Lawrence thing where she's
Yeah,
attacking
yeah,
you on the beach nude or something. I
yeah.
heard about that. Yeah.
I was blown away. It was the first time I've ever thought that I'm like, hey, she's not a horrible demon. I
No, oh,
actually
no
liked
hard
her in the
feelings. That's what
movie.
it's called. No hard
Yeah,
feelings.
yeah, no
Okay.
hard feelings. I enjoyed it. It was better than I thought it was gonna be. it kind of starts to fall apart towards the third act, but it brings it back well enough. But I think that the first act for sure, most of the second is really strong. They had some really good stuff there. And I
We
was surprised by how likable Jennifer Lawrence actually was, and they made her an asshole, and they did not relent.
we did a I did a special Tuesday throwback with Troy Pacelli. We're talking about like 80, like just 40
Yeah.
years ago comedies. Everything from like Risky Business to Tootsie to stuff that you can't even make anymore. It's like I don't. We were discussing. We went on a tangent for like 15 minutes on why you can't even probably make Trading Places now. And how
Mm.
RIP. Hashtag. I do this a lot. Hashtag RIP comedy. We've done with Talk Hard. We purposely go back and try to find the most offensive elements of Mel Brooks and see how far into the YouTube censorship I can push it. Things like that.
Oh,
Oh, yeah, it took me a while. Actually, Johnny Dangerously was the one that got flagged the most. I got the most copyright claims and flags and stuff on Johnny Dangerously than I did even Blazing Saddles. Now, I was smart enough to play not to play the N-word sequences, but you know what I mean.
yeah, yeah.
Um, but I couldn't agree more. Like it's just a different societal constraint that is keeping that creative element at bay, and I don't know what breaks it.
I
Is it,
I don't
yeah,
either. I've always referred to it as being almost an external MacGuffin because it
mm,
is the thing that actually is driving all of their the story, right? Is all of these outside noises that are dictating what the story is going to be. It's really hard to be funny, especially in the moment, if you have 100-word checklist that you need to go through your head to make sure what you're going to say is not on there. You know what I mean? You're constantly trying to censor yourself so you don't get in trouble, and it gives
yeah.
it constricts creativity.
I know you may want to try to pull my man card away from me, but I have to give Mrs. Pops credit here because she kind of inadvertently, I think, but she opened my eyes to this because we were tooling through Voodoo a few years ago, and she said, "I just want to watch a comedy," so we switched the digital library to comedy. And sure enough, there was like 30 movies in the top of the list that were like, none of these are comedies. What are they doing on here? So you started
Yeah.
to realize they were just flagging comedy. I'm like, is there a joke in this movie? Because that is a drama. This is like a sci-fi action film. Like it's just they just stick the label comedy just so that comedy isn't omitted from the number of films being released each year because there's not really very many true comedies getting released. There's like, a couple a year, maybe.
Maybe mainline, you know what I mean? The ones that
Yeah,
were in theater.
correct.
There are a few that will come out. Hulu just released their Vacation Friends Part 2.
Oh,
The
okay.
first one was tolerable, I guess, but oh man, this second one, they hadn't even left the airport and I was out. I was done.
Wow.
They hadn't
Yeah,
made
I
it to the
don't.
destination.
We were discussing. We really couldn't come up with like some great comedies in the last 10 years or so. It's like really we're waiting for the Renaissance to create a new
Oh
sort of
man,
wave of
10
things because
years.
we were talking about through the '80s, and you ended up with like this teen, and everything was very fad driven back then. So you ended up
Yeah.
with something that would be maybe okay for the family, and then you would get raunchy versions of it, and then you would get direct to VHS versions of it, and then it went through the '90s, and we tried, okay, we do American Pie versions, and we do Hangover versions later on, and it's like, and
Direct to
now it's like,
video
yeah,
versions.
yeah, you just keep going. Like you might have like more of like a PG-13 version of something that was a comedy, and then you would get like the R versions and R knockoffs and things like that. And then you would get the direct versions, which just like how far the envelope can we go? Because we couldn't get this at a theater. So it's like now it's like you don't get anything, and then every now and again you'll get some streaming service stuff, and then you watch them and you're like, it's all right. You don't feel like socks
Hmm.
are never coming off. You're never like, oh, that was good. I don't know.
I'm trying to think about what recently has made me what series. I know Barry, even though that last season, man, did they take a turn. I commend them for them committing to that turn, but yet leading up to it, it was funny. It was a really really good show, and then they took all that humor out completely for that last season, and you don't even know how to feel with it really. But have you seen Barry?
No, it's on the it's actually
It's
floating
worth
very
it.
very close to the top of the to-do list. It's on the market. I actually own, I think, a couple of them digitally. So I think we're on what, 4 seasons or 5? I think it's
They're done. Yeah, the series is
Yeah.
over now.
So I
Yeah,
think
but
I own all but the last season and just haven't gotten to watch it. And I want to watch
it's
it from the
actually worth it.
beginning. So
Yeah,
yeah.
it's worth it, dude. Um,
Because I need
but
like I was thinking about like some
Peacemaker,
of the which one?
Peacemaker, the
Yeah, but it's not a comedy first,
sorry.
is it? Or do you think? I
Actually,
mean,
I feel like it is. The girlfriend and I, we quit after the first episode. We were like, no, we see what you're doing. We're not going down this road because they just shit all over him for that first episode. You're like, oh, this is what it's gonna be. But we went back a couple months later and we gave it another shot and it won us over. There's definitely some woke things in there, but it's hilarious. It's the only thing I think John Cena has done of worth. I actually enjoyed it. Yeah.
um, the only movie, and I know this is real again, man card territory, but it's because it was a rom com, so I'm not even sure. It's not like a laugh out loud type comedy like we're talking about, but it was a rom com I actually enjoyed, and I've rewatched it with the wife, and that was the Crazy Rich Asians thing. And I think that it was because I felt like there was sort of like some satire on the extreme elements of an Asian community with
Hmm.
different little stereotypes and tropes, and all of that worked. Like there was like you're laughing at yourself, you're laughing at the situations, you're like, and I'm like, yeah, and that was again, this is it. That's a very safe film. That is not like pushing the envelope or anything like that.
Yeah.
So I'm like. And I started going back. I was doing a search before we talked. I was kind of looking at my notes to see. That was like the only one I can think of. I don't know about you. Did you like the 21 Jump Street remake that they
I
did?
really did.
Okay. I don't
I
I
actually
just
enjoyed both of them a lot.
yeah. It's my Jonah Hill issue. I'm sort of over it. So I think that's part of my problem with it.
I
Um
mean, yeah,
Bridesmaids
he
I
hit
think
me
is
with that one. I
fine.
thought it was good. What was that
Bridesmaid
last
I
one?
think Bridesmaid
Oh,
I think is
Bridesmaid?
fine. I'm not going to sit through it again really.
No.
I had to go back to 2007 when you had like Hot Fuzz.
Yeah, that's
You
a
had
great
you know,
one.
you had
The
to go
other
back.
guys.
Yeah, 40-Year-Old Virgin was 2005. We're like
What about the
2005,
nice guys though?
Anchorman. You know what I mean? Nice Guys.
Yeah. It's Shane Black. Shane Black has some. He writes great dialogue. It's
Oh, I
it,
don't think I've seen this. This is
what?
oh, it's Gosling. Yeah. I should watch that. I watch
Oh,
that.
dude, I wanted to hate Ryan Gosling so bad. I don't know why. I guess because he was in The Notebook, which I never even watched. So I don't know why it bothered me. But I'm like, I don't like this guy. But he has won me over. He is a national treasure, and people do not appreciate him like they should.
Ryan Gosling to me seems like he somehow got enough FU money pretty early on that he
Yeah,
can now just do because he was a child actor and
yeah.
he was able to get wealthy enough with some FU money and he can just kind of do things. So he's done musical stuff. Obviously, that got him some accolades, and he just. So I think he's kind of that point where he can be fearless. I don't think anyone could have pulled off something like Ken. I don't think most people would try to even go for it. So he at least try to do what he could do with what he did. I'm fine with that. Okay,
And
you
it's the
know.
only
So,
thing people are gonna remember from Barbie. Down the road,
um,
it's gonna be Ken memes, and that's enough. That's it. That's what the big takeaway will be.
it's a weird culty thing. I mean, I get stuff nearly every couple of days. Like, are you going to do another video or whatever? Because I've really kind of gone to the rabbit hole of how they want to use it as like a relationship test and the extreme. You can really gauge how far left this girl or woman is if you know how she likes Barbie or how she wants to question you about Barbie. The
Oh,
film is very strange. So
you think it is to uh women or to whatever, like what The Last Jedi was? Because there was a long period where I could tell almost all of your political leanings, whether or not you like The Last Jedi. Based on that, I there was so much I could tell about you as a person, or about how
or
you think
well,
politically.
as long as you're willing to give me a little bit of grace. It took me until I watched it the second. I came out of Last Jedi like, what did I just watch? Like, I had to do a review, and I didn't really hate on the movie enough. I
Yeah.
was more like, I was like, what on earth? And then every time I watched it, it just kept getting worse and worse. Because then you start seeing things. Because some things went
Hmm.
by so fast, you couldn't get your head around. Like, what on earth did they do? And then, of course, the fight scene. Once you see that, it's unbearable. You can't unsee that. The Criterion Guard scene.
Yep.
And I've never watched this. I think I've watched it maybe 3 times or 4 times. I never watched it
I,
again. It's like it's
I
just
I was right there
that's
with you in the
it
theater.
it took a minute.
I remember sitting in the theater and I'm like, they're telling me it's Star Wars, but it doesn't. There's something. There was that. It was almost like a uncanny valley, where there's something off. and you don't know what it is, and you can't figure it out. And the girlfriend immediately was like, I didn't care for that shit at all.
My
I was
son,
like,
yeah, yeah. One of my two sons did that. He was like, we're out. We spent like a year almost like, I don't want to say fighting, but debating about it. And I said, no, it's a
yeah.
billion-dollar franchise. They've got a plan. Wait till the next one. This is what they could do. And he's like, nope, it's dead. And I'm like, okay. And he
I
was
was
right.
excited because I bought into the Force Awakens is kind of like a soft reboot for this new generation. I'm like, yeah, Collider, I'll listen. You guys are gonna be around forever. And the, if you don't know, Collider is not.
It's awful. It's
I know
awful.
it's not even around anymore. Is it?
Oh, is he dead? Dead? I
I
didn't
don't
even know it was
know.
dead. Dead. I haven't been on
I think
Collider
it
in
is.
years. I don't even know. All
But
those sites to me are dead. So I don't even know.
yeah,
If they're, yeah,
well,
slash film and all. They're all dead to me. I don't even know.
so I bought into their whole like little reboot, little thing that they were doing, and then leading up to the Last Jedi, I'm like, I really liked Brick. That was done by Ryan Johnson and Looper.
Yep.
Whatever. Anyway, so I and the trailer looked kind of dark. I'm like, okay, let's see where we're going with this, right? I like old broken Luke, but they never earned it. You know what I mean?
I
You
felt like
didn't
there was a
earn that.
plan, and there was never a plan. That was my thing. It's like,
Nuh-uh.
okay, I can work with what we've done, even though I was still like shell shocked. I think I was shell
Yeah.
shocked mostly by the casino stuff, Leia floating in the sky, and Ray never having to train really. So I'm like, I don't,
Well,
But then we got to Rise, and then it just it's a mess. But
oh, way over. I mean,
yeah,
because when it came out on VOD, I'm like, maybe it was the theater, maybe the seat wasn't this or that, but But now I'm at home, and the girlfriend couldn't even make it halfway through, and she never remembers movies that we see.
yeah.
It's great because I always get to watch my favorites. I'm like, no, we haven't seen this one, babe.
We watched Wind River 97 times.
We have seen it a few times. It's so good though. But yeah, and once I had it on VOD, and I'm like, no, and that's you got to get on YouTube and see if anybody else is it me? Because Collider is saying positive things. These people, it has this rating. Like, I can't be alone in thinking that there's something off here.
Right.
And here I am.
Barbie is definitely going to be even a more extreme litmus test because there are people who actually think it reflects some sort of reality or some sort of like conversation starter about quote patriarchy and all that kind of nonsense. And then there's other people who see it as like 4D chess and it's really about Ken and it's all. I'm like, okay, this have you heard this lady? She is not playing 4D chess with you. Like, just please, please
I was gonna
stop.
say the same thing. I'm like,
Like
no, no,
Greta
no, no.
Gerwig wouldn't know 4D chess if it was on the license plate in the car in front of her. Are you
No,
kidding me? There's no chance.
yeah, there are both recordings and in print. The things
Yeah.
that Sia said, there's
Yeah.
no 4D chess.
Yeah. So it's just a weird place because that film kind of, to me, it kind of represents, crap, we still are really nowhere close to this nonsense being over with. And I think that's kind of where I'm at. I was kind of feeling a little bit hopeful where maybe if we got through the stuff that's already in production and blah, 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 we were going to just time our way out of some of this stuff. Not saying it won't exist. It's just that it would be back where it belongs in indie film and film festivals and small
Yeah.
budget stuff and not in my Avengers films and not in my Star Wars films. But no. I think it's still it's
Mostly
gonna
on
linger
NPR.
Yeah, or just, again, indie film. I remember going to film festivals and I had to stop. I couldn't do it. I'm like, they're all lefty agenda films. It's like, and you see it because those are the ones that end up, dominating Oscar type stuff. They're like these films where, it's a lesson about the wealthy and it's a lesson about euthanasia and it's like, oh my gosh, it makes your head hurt. You're like, oh no, this is awful. Now they put that crap in regular mainstream films, and comedy is the one area where they are not wanting to participate like at all. So
No, and I had something before that. What was it? Oh, I can't remember, man. The independent thing though, that's interesting because I listened to why what is it YMS? Your movies suck.
oh right, okay, yeah.
Yeah, he apparently had never watched Critical Drinker before, and this is about Barbie. And I guess he did a reaction to Critical Drinker's Barbie video,
Okay,
and it really revealed a lot of YMS's leanings.
gotcha.
And then he went on, and then Mahler and them had him on, and man, it didn't go well.
Yeah,
It
those guys are for realsy too, man. They I don't even know how they can see a movie and have the thought processes so well constructed so quickly. Like that's a 2 or 3 watch sometimes for me to get to the point where those guys are. It's crazy how good they are. Yeah.
I actually like to test myself with that though. I'll watch a movie before I watch their coverage of it, and I kind of come up with my points, and and if I can get on a couple panels too, it really helps as well, because I think speaking with other people, and I think this may be their advantage, is that they do this consistently,
Yeah.
so they work really well together. Because I always believe that it's better to have a workshop. You know, workshops are very important. You don't need 50 writers in there, but if you can have a core group and you can just bounce ideas off. Because usually with me, I'll hear something and then it will spark, and then I can
Mhm.
run. It may not even be anywhere near what it was when it started, but I just need that spark, you know. But yeah. So I don't
I
want to
try
say that they've stolen from me from some of my bits, but I've heard things that I've said.
Yeah, okay.
But then again,
I
everybody
purposely
steals
try
from
not
the
to.
YouTuber's YouTuber.
Well, yeah, I mean, I try to put credits in there. It's just it says YouTuber in there, so that's for you. Because I try to record my reviews and reactions before I listen to everybody's stuff, because who knows what people will say or whatever. And reality is, and I enjoy the process of, all right, I said my piece, there's a pin in it, and then we'll see how that evolves and changes over time, especially because you pick up things that other people caught that I didn't
Yeah.
catch. Right. And we were talking about Ahsoka before we started all this nonsense. And I'm like, yeah, this is like the onion that just keeps getting worse and bitter. The kind of, Disney Star Wars just keeps getting worse. So I try to at least do my piece and then kind of see what happens. And, it is what it is.
I I'll scroll through Twitter a little bit after the episode, and there's moments where am I missing something? Because these people are I noticed last night when I was looking, it's always, wow, this moment. Oh, it's never, man, the story or whatever. And they keep referring to Ray Stevenson, who I absolutely love. And I think he is the only thing about the. Actually, I like him in his little Sith. Uh, at least they have some type of personality. But they always like, oh, he's so interesting and intriguing and fascinating. His story. What are you talking about? We don't know anything about him. Yeah, he said some things, but it didn't tell us anything about who he is.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of headcanon on places like Twitter and even YouTubers. A lot of headcanons like that didn't actually come out on screen. There is definitely not a desire to have like a tight, concise story like at all. Like these people are allowed to have like total free reign to waste our time. I think my take on Ahsoka, because I'm still editing it, in short, will be: I'm 4 episodes in. I got an hour of content. Now, I'm not saying it would be a great movie when we're done with this, but I'm like, if we took all these like Disney products, they don't need to be 4, 6, 8 episodes long. They could probably be an hour and a half, 2 hours. I'm not saying they would be great, but they would at least not waste as much of my time in my life. And that's kind of what I think Ahsoka is going to be like. I didn't need the first 3 episodes to finally get to something happening. It's like that's kind of where we're at. This is just another example that you go to Twitter and it's like Easter egg love, head canon, or the virtue signaling,
Yeah, they're
basically.
always won over by the moment.
Yeah.
It's about asking questions but not giving any answers, because the end of that one, and this is going to be on Sunday, so if you haven't seen it by now, don't just don't. Um, if you have never seen Rebels or never been uh aware of some of the story points on that, when the show ended last night, you don't know if Ahsoka is dead. Is she a Force ghost? Is this Force ghost heaven? Was there some type of black hole at the bottom of that cliff? How did she get there? Why is she there? Why is Anakin there?
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, this we are recording this ahead of time, so this is in conversation of episode 4. So by the time you guys see this, the show will be much further along because this will premiere. I record these in advance, so this will be out a minute. So yeah, it's like it's one of these things where people. I think here's the thing: Disney is perfect at manipulating the things that they care about, like Twitter and engagement.
Mm-hmm.
And what they'll do is they can put up dog crap and they can put up 1 or 2 moments like that, and
Yep.
that's all people will talk about. So everyone's going to talk about Anakin showing up. Is Ahsoka dead or not? Is Ezra still out there? I can't wait to see Thrawn even more now that I did
Mhm.
before. You hear all these stupid little moments, and it sort of overshadows the fact that there's just not any meat on this bone.
Nothing. And again, so she's in the in between worlds, which
Yeah, I
has
hate that
never been mentioned in
nonsense.
Star Wars before,
What's
unless
in the
you know
Rebels
of it.
show, right? This is
Yeah,
Rebels season 19. I don't even know, freaking know.
yeah.
I keep care. I've watched pieces of Rebels, but
Not anything. Nothing.
I hate time travel-y excuse
Yep.
nonsense stuff like this. It's like I hated when Darth Maul was brought back for the cartoon world. I can't stand all that. Like, have stakes. I don't even know. This is how bad a show are allowed to be now. It's like, don't you hate it when shows don't like even tell you like when this takes place? Like, am I watching something that's between Mandalorian season 1, 2,
Oh
3? Is it
yeah.
before Boba
Wait.
Fett? Is it after Jedi? Is it because they know if they tell us that, then we're gonna have a whole bunch of questions. Like, well, where's Luke? Why wouldn't he just show up? And where's that's what'll happen. So they just do nothing and
Well,
expect us to take it.
that's exactly what happened with how long was baby Sir Grogu the third then?
Yeah.
How long was he with Luke?
Right. Yeah.
And in every attempt for them to they're stuck in a place to where if they try to develop anything, it opens up more questions, right? When they put baby Yoda in the G11 walking thing, wait, he can understand what people are saying.
Yep. But he can only flip. But then suddenly he can force save everybody by having this power. Like, it's like, okay, you guys
It
just want whatever is
oh
convenient in the moment.
Well, they
And
can't ever let him
again,
grow up because that is the thing that is holding all of Star Wars Disney up right now is on the poor little tiny green shoulders of
well,
Grogu.
some stuffed animal that they didn't
Yeah.
even know was going to be. Yeah, I know. What is it about these IPs that, like, how do you maintain joy and happiness seeing everything that's transpired in the last 8 years in particular? It's like,
I
you just go total old school and keep binging, or do you just keep trying to find something good in the weeds? Who do you listen to that you trust? I mean, how do you manage this sea of chaos?
I mean, one, I Star Wars has been dead for a minute, and I think that's probably the best thing for it right now. Just let it die off completely, and hopefully somebody will come along later on and will give life. But until then, just enjoy it. For when I look at like Batgirl that wasn't released, that was a tragedy. I'm like, oh no, all that good YouTube
I
content is
know. It's
gone.
just so much fun.
It hurt me that was never released, but they released all this other nonsense. But that was gonna be so beautiful, you know. Um, and yeah, I guess I can't take anything that they do at this point serious. And but even the Last Jedi is a perfect example, right? Even though you hate it, it has it has spawned so many great conversations and ideas and channels and YouTubers and people all the way down. And even today, it will still be referenced to talk about movies. It's this interesting thing that can just be used, and I think that that's the way I look at the what's coming out now. It's just the use of it beyond enjoyment or entertainment. Because there are good movies that are still being released, and I can come across. They cloned Tyrone, one of my favorite of the year. Came out on Netflix, got no love, and I do not know why it got buried. Well, I do because it was written and directed by the guy that did Space Jam 2, but he redeemed himself. Love the movie.
So you, I couldn't agree more about that too. Then, because I think that's another reason why I keep doing this, because I figure there's somebody out there right now who loved Rebels, loved Clone Wars, loved Ahsoka, whatever, and they're going, "This just sucks. This is crap." And maybe they will on their own find some channel bigger than me. Maybe I'll be part of that too. And they go, "Oh, this Pops guy was right. This sucked. I'm not alone." And he'll start a channel, right? Or
Yeah,
he'll want to do something creative, or he'll want to navigate through what real Star Wars is to him. Yeah, so I think that's true. That there's a trigger, because each time this keeps happening, it's somebody else that falls away.
yep.
You know, it's another fan of Boba Fett. It's another fan of Obi-Wan. It's another fan of something that's like, okay, never mind. I'm out. This is freaking dog
It,
crap. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. You know
it's
that.
reflected in the numbers. Look at the numbers of the
Yeah.
shows
Yeah.
that they're pulling. You know.
Yeah. Because when you see something like that, you definitely can't unsee it, right? Like, there's
No,
no
it's
way to put the genie back in the bottle and go,
nope.
"Oh no, I really do love Kenobi." You're like, yeah, yeah, when he smuggles the kid into the trench coat, when whenever they make a
Oh,
big 5-minute emotional sequence over the death of Wade, a character we didn't even know its name. So it's like, what? Like, once you see it, you're like, oh, never mind, I got it. Okay, I see now.
it sucks because I remember, I've always been a fan of the movies that are so bad that they're good.
Mm-hmm.
It's it's weird being in a place where almost everything released fits in that category for me now.
Okay. I would love to see. So I watched one I didn't think was going to stink this bad. It was on Netflix called The Black Demon. It's a shark movie. And
What?
for some reason, it was like popular for a minute. And I was like, oh, it's, we just came out of Shark Week. I was a little behind the curve, but I was like, it was just, so I'll watch Black Demon. This movie was dog crap. And we was like, it's bad. It's bad, bad. And I'm like, okay, never mind. So the problem
Oh,
I'm having is not it's so bad it's good is almost like stuff that's on Tubi. It can't be stuff they think is real. Is how I feel. Like, you know what I
no.
mean? It's like
Yeah.
cocaine shark is that category.
No,
Cocaine
that's
shark
dumb.
is so bad. There's no cocaine in it, and it's not really a shark. Cocaine
When
shark. It's so
when
bad
it
it's good. Yeah.
Well, here's the problem though. When it comes to, and that's why it's so easy for uh the stuff that we're seeing come out from Disney to be so bad it's good, is because there has to be sincerity there. They have to genuinely
Mm,
think that they're making a good. Neil Breen's the perfect example, and I hope he's never ruined. He's a blessing among to us all. But Neil Breen, he takes his movies very serious. He will not let them be played for laughs. That he wants them to be shown at regular movie times when they come out. And I went to a screening of his newest movie, Cade: A Tortured Crossing. By the way, the place was filled with people. They had Neil Breen shirts and stuff. And it was his worst movie by far, but it was also my favorite movie of his by far. If that
wow.
makes sense.
I didn't.
It
I'm not even up to date on these movies that he's done. Like, I don't
Oh
even
my
know.
bro. Oh, a
This is
world you
brand
have.
new. I didn't know about this. Cade the Tortured Crossing.
Yep.
Huh.
He follows me on Twitter.
He loves to put his face on posters and stuff. That's funny. Talk about,
He
the
he
ultimate of like megalomon. Every poster, it's like his face, not like a character or anything like that in a movie. No, it's like it's like just his face on a billboard. It's like, that's hysterical.
Oh, listen. So there. All right. Oh, this is amazing. So there's different phases of his career, of his film career. Now, mind you, he's the director, the writer, the producer. Uh, he made all his money like real estate in Las Vegas. He No bullshit. He does the catering, everything is him. And at first, he kind of his movies, all right, his most grounded movie was about him as a kid with his best friend, this chick, and they find a magic bracelets or some shit, and then they meet later when he gets hit by a car. It's a whole thing. But once he gets into his, because he does think he's Jesus, every one of his movies, he's always, you know, he's either a hacker getting this information, the corruption both nationally and internationally. And then he went into his alien phase where him and Cade, the twins, they were captured by aliens, and then they came back, and he came back, but he has superpowers, and he's part android, and he's here to save the world, but he has no idea the punishment. When the punishment meets the crime, he gets treats everyone as bad guys. It's
This is crazy. This guy's
it's
IMDb.
insane.
Oh, we gotta share it. We're gonna share this. You're gonna believe this. These are his nicknames according to IMDb: Tuna Cans,
Oh my god.
Vega Bros, Breenius, the Breenus, Breen Screen, Neil the Lean Mean Tuna Eating Hacking Machine Breen, Cornelius F. Breen. I think he makes up some of these on his own.
He made up all of these on his own.
Neil F. Breen, Neil Francis Breen, Cornelius Breen, Cornelius Francis Breen, God Emperor Breen, Neil the Architect of Retribution Breen,
Yeah, because oh man.
Mean Breen Beans, and the Rock Lord. This is great.
I made
Nobody
Brahma.
nobody loves Neil Breen, like Neil Breen. That's great.
Absolutely not. No, listen, I made Brahma, Slender, Little Chad. My girlfriend loves these movies too, so I didn't force her to. And I made them watch 2 Neil Breen movies, and I have one up already for What the Flick, and that was the most grounded one. And you can hear them breaking in the while we're watching it, and they're just like, "What is happening? This is the grounded one." Dude,
I'm making a note of this to revisit Neil Breen stuff. This is great. It's crazy. But you know what? That's the kind of off the reservation stuff that can get you through difficult times. You know what I mean? Like can get you through the lean times in between movies and stuff, and yeah, gotcha.
Look, this is the trailer. Oh, dude. I knew more from the trailer.
Let's pause that for a second.
So okay. No. I knew more about his latest movie going into it than I did leaving it. I had less of an understanding of what was happening in the movie when I left and I'd seen the entire thing than when I went in.
Wow.
This was the movie leading up to it. It'll just give you a taste. Oh, bro, this last one, dude, he didn't even try to do a real set.
Programmable virtual reality. The corrupt version.
What is happening?
That is the opening line of his trailer. He did this himself, and it means nothing.
It's a blue floating ball.
Yeah, bro. That's the AI. Nano something.
Oh, man.
Virtual reality.
So
this is like stock medical footage. Is that him, though? Or is
no,
that just
that is not him. That's still
okay,
stock.
I'm making sure it's stock footage. Okay. That's what because I noticed that too with Cocaine Shark. There's all these different sequences, and it's clearly stock footage. It's great because the quality is actually really, really high. What is this nonsense?
I'll take you out to dinner. Let's have a drink. Let's have a drink.
Leave me alone.
Have a drink. Let's have a drink.
Don't worry. They're banging. And that may be his sister. It wasn't clear.
Programmable matter.
Programmable matter.
Wait. That's a micro pipette. What is he talking about? He's holding a
programmable organic.
So, okay. Again, I can say I'm a biologist because I actually am. So that's a tray full of micro pipettes, and they have different colors on them because they're calibrated for different amounts. That's all they are. You just push the little button, you suck up a liquid, you pipette it into a little tube. That's what it's for.
Right.
I have no idea what.
That's part of the process when you're programming matter.
Matter. Kuz's biological mutant warfare plans.
Mutant warfare plans involve the use of the micro pipette. And this very generic looking hood in this laboratory that we probably snuck in to film this scene.
It is a community college in the Las Vegas area.
Oh my. What is happening here?
Unidentifiable DNA?
What on earth? I got to see that again.
Oh my dude. Oh, I love this movie.
I love the shadows.
Well, because they're the Illuminati, I guess.
Oh, it's great. More stock footage. Oh, that may be him walking around. Never mind. Nope, it was stock footage.
You mean flying around?
It was stock footage. They just used the green screen, man. Oh man, this guy's crazy.
Yeah, dude. I want you to listen. At the end, he has this little thing.
Oh, sorry, you do it.
Oh yeah.
Own world. Universe.
Hold on. He has a little speech here.
Kate, I will love you for all eternity.
She does not make it to the sequel.
Virtual metaverse, a virtual universe, living in our own world.
Breenverse.
Everyone has the right to love.
Oh my god. He always has a speech like this.
I'll be right here.
Oh my gosh.
He's
Does this
our
guy,
savior.
does he want to be like a Jim Jones? Is that the thing? He's trying to be sort of some sort of like theatrical.
No, he just loves movies, dude. Look.
This is what he just wants to
Pure
do.
majesty of nature.
It's insane, man. I
Man.
can't listen. I wish I could tell you. I wish I could show you. He has a fight with a tiger, with a white tiger in this newest one. It's a CGI tiger, but it is. I know people make the joke, oh, that's like PS1 graphics. This legit was PS1 graphics, and it looked amazing. He has so many tropes. He has a trope where he'll be fighting someone, and then he'll go on, and then they're like, "Ha ha ha, we're friends. Yes, we've known each other for years."
Oh my gosh, this is crazy. So, all right, well, I've got a little, folks. We have some homework now. We can end up down the Neil Breen rabbit hole of you can't unsee it. I guess is the problem with that.
It's not for everyone. I recommend everyone watch this stuff, but some people won't handle a full Neil Breen movie well. It's a
No, but a
toll.
couple trailers and some doses of stuff's enough to kind of at least get your palate wet. This is the kind of crazy stuff that's out there.
That's what I was gonna say though. If you go to my channel, what the flick? Our last one was a Neil Breen movie, so you kind of watch it through our eyes, so that you don't have to.
And there you go. Now we're on brand. Because as I say many times, folks, I watch it so you don't have to. Yes.
Oh, I don't say that. I'm gonna watch it regardless.
I say it all the time. So, folks, thank you so much for hanging out, man. It's been a great time. Just shot by. Listen, so all the links are there for Mad. Make sure you're connected. I know you're on all sorts of different panels and different things like that. What's kind of like your plan? Like, what are you doing? What are you going to work on? What's coming up?
Man. So this is coming out Sunday.
Well, no, this will be probably a week from this Sunday. It says it's going to be a minute for it's out, but I mean, you're going to be out. You're on Sporking pretty regularly, right?
Yeah. I'll show up Wednesday or Saturday. You can find me in all kinds of different places. I'm around. I was on Lofties the other night. Oh boy, how about this? How about this Starfield thing? Huh?
Oh,
That'll
my
still be
goodness.
relevant.
Yeah, there's who knows how many more days of that, and but Rachel Zegler is very happy about it. I'm just letting everybody know. So she's very, very happy that some of these things have happened. So nobody has to talk about her for 2 seconds.
Yeah, I'm everywhere. I may start gaming some. May start streaming it with the girlfriend.
Okay.
And that's about it, dude. Not much happening. I'm around.
All right. Well, thank you, my friend, for hanging out with us, folks.
been a
Everybody,
blast.
make sure you connect. Just hang out, have some fun. And yeah, I guess we're kind of continuing that theme of hashtag RIP comedy, because we're kind of down this rabbit hole where you kind of have to dig a little deeper and wider to try to find some stuff or watch the OG. But yeah, it's been great to find somebody who's just, trying to have a laugh and have some fun along the way. And it's good to get to know you more and get to hang out with you, my friend.